Hello class. In this video, we are now going to put our pin tool to the test. We're going to go over how we could start working on our assignment 7. One of the different silhouettes that we're going to create has to be created using the pin tool. So if you have your file, go ahead and open it. I previously created this file in a previous video. I'm going to go ahead and open it. Within Illustrator, this is the home. And you could either go to File Open, or I could see down here under Recent, my file is here. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it to open it up. And to remind you, in the Layers panel, I already have my layers created. Now, if you don't have this, I'm going to suggest that you go back and view the video that shows you how to set up Assignment 7. It has all the instructions on how to get to this point. So within here, I have my reference images that are locked so that I cannot select them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over how to use the pin tool to start creating a silhouette. And we're going to focus on Donald. If you look right here, I already labeled it. This is pin tool. Okay, it's Mickey. We're going to use Mickey with the pin tool. But I could always rename these. It doesn't matter. If you really want to use Donald or Goofy, that's fine. But here, I'm going to go ahead and focus, zoom in on Mickey. And what I want to do, I want to make sure that this Mickey pin tool layer is highlighted. That means that any path that I create is going to go into that layer. I want to change a couple things around. Since Mickey is black, I do not want, or has a black outline, I do not want to use black, and I don't want to use white. So in fact, I'm not going to use a fill. For my stroke color, I want to use something that's going to stand out. Let me select, and if I look here, I could also tell that my wireframe colors is dark blue. So I want to avoid blue. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'm going to select green for my outline color, which I could always change. And what I want you to do, a couple of things. Since we're going to use a pin tool, I first want to make sure that my direct selection tool is selected, because if I need to go back and edit one of the points, I could always hold down my modifier key, either Command on a Mac or Control on a PC. I'm going to select it, and now I'm going to go ahead and select the pin tool. What I want to do is I want to create a nice outline of Mickey. I'm only going to focus on a small area because I want to show you how to go about doing it. Um, go on my way, and then I'll let you finish the rest. Now you could create this in different segments as long as they're closed shapes, and I'll go about that. Like say for example, I just want to create this shape, but I want to use a pin tool. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. By all means, go ahead and zoom in. And I'm going to go ahead and click and drag to create an anchor point. So what I want my point, my outline to go around this shape. What I do not want you to do, don't do this. I don't want you just to click like this. Yes, you can create the shape. Here, I'm going to go across. But what's going to happen is it's going to have a jagged edge. So let me go ahead and hide my reference. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to switch this stroke for a fill. The keyboard shortcut is Shift X, or you could click on this little arrow. I'm going to deselect, Command Shift A or Control Shift A. Now if you look at this, it looks like it has a jagged edge, and that's not what I want. I want a smooth edge. So I'm going to go ahead and select this shape. I'm going to delete it. Let's go back. So I'm going to switch back my stroke into fill. What I want you to do, I'm going to select my direct selection tool, now my pen tool. I'm clicking and dragging to create an anchor. Now remember, my handles dictate the direction and the magnitude. I want this fairly large, but not too large or too small. But notice how they're going around. And you can see my preview. I'm maybe going to click right here. I'm going to click and hold down my mouse button. And I want to create that curve. Okay, that looks good. Now since this one's long, this handle is long, I need to give myself some room. So I could go right here, but I want to give myself a little bit of room so I could create a handle. So I have that right here. And I'm going to just create the ear because I'll show you what you could also do. You don't, or I could decide to go right here. This one actually looks pretty good, where I could just put my point down. But now I have to go around. I did not create a handle on this one. I want to point out a couple things that you could do. So say for example, you create a shape or you add a point and it's like, oh no, it's too low. What can I do? Right now, as long as I'm holding down my left mouse button, don't let go of it. If you press and hold down the space bar, you could pick up where you put that last anchor point and say, you know what, I actually want it right here. That's better. And I could continue editing this. What if you mess up? Oops, I do not want that. What I uh, You could always use command undo or which is I'm sorry, not command undo, edit undo, or I rather use the keyboard shortcuts because this is going to require you to go over here. It can mess you up. I'm going to use either on a Mac, command Z, or here let me mess up again on a PC, control Z, control Z. What you could also do if you press delete or backspace, it also deletes them, but be careful. I just deleted everything. I'm gonna redo. I could go edit. Let's see, undo clear, and then edit. I guess it's just an edit. Command Z, Command Z. Now notice that right now, because I did that, it's no longer connected. Using my keyboard, using the functionality of the pen tool, I could click right here to add it again and say, you know what, I want to. I'm going to go ahead and undo, Command Z. There it is, Command Z. Or I believe you could also press Escape. Oh, no, I guess they got rid of that. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So what I want to do is, as I'm creating my points, notice my handles. I sometimes see students that go around this way. But if I do this, what's going to happen is that it's going to create this point and this is going to want to go down. And it's like I'm creating waves. I don't want to create waves. I'm going to undo this. Command Z, Command Z. Instead, my points, I want them to be like I'm trying to get that curvature. One thing that I would suggest is imagine that you want to conserve how many points you use. So right here, I was like, I have this long handle. I don't want this handle right here. I'm going to re-click at my anchor point. That gets rid of that point. I'm going to zoom in. If necessary, zoom in. I can go around his nose, remove that one. So right now, I'm basically creating a shape all the way around. I'll just go over on his head. So this does take some practice. As like, how do I know where to put them? I'm kind of using my best judgment. So say I want this one right here. Maybe I want to move it in a bit. I'm going to hold down my mouse button. Don't let go. Hold down the space bar to change the placement. There he goes. Great. I'm going to re-click it to remove it. Let me zoom out. You can see right here the arm kind of covers it, so I'm not going to create his arm just for right now. I'm just going to go say it right here. Okay, great. And I'm going to click around right here because the shape of the arm is kind of hiding all of his face. And at this point, all of this stuff is being covered by these other shapes. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. Let's say, for example, I'm going to zoom in right here. I'm going to put a point, I'll put a point right here so that I could start to continue right here. Now this is only if you want to create this in different segments. Now you could potentially go all the way around your character. so that it's not created in segments, just created using one long path, which is totally fine. See right here, this one, does it fit? Yeah, it kind of fits. I'll show you in a moment how I could finish this one off. But notice how I'm just going around the shapes. And at a certain point, I'm going to come back to my point right here. I'm going to click and drag because I want to make sure that this one stays where it's at. And now what I created a silhouette just around the head. For the assignment, it's going to go all the way around the body. I'll create the arm in a moment as two different pieces, but let me show you what we have. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and deselect Command Shift A or Control Shift A, and I have this nice silhouette. I'm going to go ahead and select it and switch it around back to because I want to be able to see the image. It's only the stroke value. Now, if you notice my pin tool right here has that little asterisk, means that if I click right here, it's going to create a new one. I'll go ahead and create the arm as a different shape. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off right here. Let's see, okay, I'm going to click right here. I want to try to create this shape. This is kind of pretty much straight. I like to zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and create a small anchor right here and finish it off here. I'm going to click. So, but as you can see, I'm putting down anchor points and creating handles, clicking and dragging. So try your best to create these shapes. As long as you, I showed earlier, I don't want you to, don't do this, don't just click, 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 because it's going to give you hard edges, angular edges. Oh no, I pressed delete. I'm going to undo. I wanted to undo. Command Z. There it is. Command Z. Command Z or Control Z. All right, so let me go ahead and just finish creating these shapes so I could show you what it's going to look like. And you only need to create one of these silhouettes using the pen tool. In the next videos, I'm going to go over how to use the pen tool, the pencil tool, the paintbrush tool, and the blob brush tool. And you only need to create using one tool for each silhouette. So this is going to be the tool that uses, or this is going to be the silhouette that uses the pen tool. In the next video, I'll go over using the pencil tool. And then in the last video, I'll go over using the blob brush tool. But learning how to use the pen tool, you can see some of the power in that you can manipulate and edit any shape, any path within Illustrator, but it does require lots of use. Let's see, maybe do I want to still show that? No, I'm just going to go ahead and come back around and go right here. I'm going to close this path. So there's these two separate shapes. I'm going to switch to my selection tool. I'm going to select both of these shapes. Since they have the same stroke value, I could flip them around. I could press my keyboard shortcut, Shift X. I'm going to deselect, Command Shift A or Control Shift A. And you can see that since they're the same color, they look the same. Now if you want to, I could further say I want these to be one shape. I'll use my shape builder tool, which we learned previously. So with these two shapes selected, I could always use my shape builder tool, and I'm just going to click and drag over all three of these shapes. Now these that used to be two different shapes are now one shape. So the choice is up to you. I care more about the visual results. So if you have one shape or many shapes that create these results, that create your silhouette, that's going to be fine. But if as I hide this layer, you can see that, okay, there is my Mickey silhouette. It's the outline. So this is using the pen tool. So I would want you to continue outlining either one of these different Disney characters using the pen tool. So let me know if you have any questions. In the next video, we'll start going over these other tools that we're going to be using. I'll see you then.